Subscribe to the channel, man. But I want to talk about this Anthony Joshua, flare up that's been going on the last 2 or 3 days. We all know Wilder is going to fight Klitschko on December 1st. And Joshua came out and said that he will not be attending the fight, or he will not watch the fight on television because he said he needs his rest. And the fights, they come on late over in the UK. When the fights come on over here, I think it's like what 2, 3 o'clock in the morning over there in the UK. So I can understand that the man want to get his rest. It's a lot of people giving him flack about not watching the fight or not attending the fight. Now, I have my opinion on why Joshua. For one, I said he's not gonna watch the fight because the fight comes on very early in the morning over there. Like I said, like 2 or 3 over there. People are asleep. And that's people's sleeping time. And the man said he needs his rest. He needs his rest. He's a high performance athlete. You know what I'm saying? So if he wants to get his rest, he wants to get his rest. Now, he said that he won't be attending the fight because he has obligations with his sponsors. Okay. I seen Blue Blood video. Shout out to that the brother Blue Blood. He always come out with some good content, and I disagree with him on this notion that he says he believes that Anthony Joshua should still go to the fight. Now I got two reasons why Anthony Joshua is not going to attend the fight in person. Number one, he said he has obligations with his sponsors. Now, his sponsors understands that Anthony Joshua is a high level athlete, a boxer. So I can say I can say that these meetings with his sponsors or whatever he had to do with his sponsors were already dated before the Wilder Tyson Fury fight. So he probably already had all this stuff scheduled before that. So I'm not gonna get on the man and say he has to go to the fight in person to scout. I know Blue Blood said, "Why wouldn't you want to scout out your opponent?" I mean, he's seen Wilder. I mean, he's seen Fury fight. He seen Wilder fight. So him scouting out them, I mean, it's not a big deal, man. He know how these guys fight. Uh, they've been fighting for a while. I believe he's probably sparred with Tyson Fury before. I think he sparred with Tyson Fury. So he knows these guys. So him showing up to the fight, he don't have to necessarily scout out these guys. And the biggest reason why I know he's not going to show up to the fight because why would he show up now? Eddie Hearn already came out and said that he wants to fight on the zone, right? He wants Wilder to fight on the zone. So why would Joshua show up to a Showtime pay per view and on a Showtime platform and they want the fight to be on the zone? Because that's what I'm saying. That will give Showtime a little leverage, saying, "Oh, the fight can be on Showtime. You showed up. Oh, okay." So right now, it's a climate in boxing that these networks are at war with each other, or trying to cultivate as much attention as possible. So Joshua showing up to that pay per view, probably in Eddie Hearn and Joshua mind, is not a good look for them. Seeing that they are trying to win the negotiation battle and trying to get Wilder to come to the zone and fight on the zone platform. So that's another reason why he's not going to show up. And in my eyes, would it look good for him to show up? Yes, everybody would like him to show up, but is it a make or break a deal of the fight? Not happening or this or that. No, he don't. To me, he doesn't have to show up. Everybody know the obvious that these guys have to fight. It's obvious. Now, fighters in the past did show up at other guys, fights, but we didn't back then. We didn't have social media to where we knew all the everybody business was out there about pay per view numbers and how much money people making and TV networks going at war. This stuff just started coming to fruition as the social media platform started growing, and now people are siding with the networks. People are siding with the pay per view numbers and siding with the A side B side stuff. And these TV networks and these promoters, they understand that the social media influence. So certain things is just not gonna happen. And yes, did Wilder show up to Klitschko versus Joshua fight? Yes, he did. He showed up. He was there in person, and that was before the Zone platform started. Though the Zone platform wasn't Eddie Hearn wasn't signed to them and promoting them and being the head and the face of that company, and until after that fight. So, like I said, he's not going to show up to the fight because of those two reasons. Now, it's a lot of people getting on Anthony Joshua, and it's, to me people are still not giving this man credit for what he has done, for what he had, because people don't like Eddie Hearn and people don't like the fact that they feel that Joshua turned down 50 million. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna get into all that, man. Like I said, each side has their side of the story, man. And if you like a side or you dislike a side, you're gonna take one side or the other. I don't know what happened, man. I wasn't in the meetings. I wasn't the fly on the wall. I don't know what they were arguing over or what the debate was over. Centered around the $50 million. But what I can say is this: Anthony Joshua is not getting respect for what this man did with it in 22 fights. This man has had 22 fights and he already has three of the titles. He has the IBF, the WBO, and the WBA. And he got all those belts in what? Let's go back. I'm looking at his box rec. Now, Charles Martin was the first belt he got, was the IBF. So one, two, three, three fights. He was able to get those belts in three fights. And I'm gonna say this: people are look. You can say what you want to say about Anthony Joshua, but this man is putting in work. He's putting in serious, serious work, man. Look, the man beat Dillian White, right? He was the first person to beat Dillian White. What have Dillian White done since then? Dillian White has made himself a prominent face of the heavyweight division since then. You know what I'm saying? Now he beat Charles Martin. We all know what Charles Martin is. I didn't think that highly of Charles Martin before he got the belt. I didn't think that highly of Charles Martin when he got the belt. But he beat Charles Martin, Dominic Brazil, Eric Molina, we know Klitschko, a long reigning champion, but he had got beat by Tyson Fury before, but that was a good looking Klitschko that day, and Joshua got off the canvas to win that fight. You know what I'm saying? So I have to give that man a lot of respect. Joseph Parker and Alexander Povetkin. Alexander Povetkin is still a player in the heavyweight division. Joseph Parker is still a player in the heavyweight division. Both of those guys. Joseph Parker only got one loss. Alexander Povetkin just got his second loss after going on a long reign of winning after he got beat by Klitschko. So Anthony Joshua has been putting in some serious work, man, and he got some serious names on his resume. Like I said, Alexander Povetkin is no pushover. Alexander Povetkin had up until that fight had only lost to Klitschko, and who didn't lose to Klitschko in the last 8-9 years of reign that he had before Tyson Fury ended it. And Alexander Povetkin is a former gold medalist. Alexander Povetkin can fight. Now he did get busted for performance enhancing drugs a couple times, which to me put a red flag on his career, because once you get busted, then everything, your whole resume is open for debate when you get busted. So, like I said, with anybody else that's has been proven and the facts has come out, I'm not one of the guys that's going to just willy nilly say somebody on performance enhancing drugs without evidence. I'm not going to do that, because one thing people do when you talk about their favorite fighter being on steroids, they get all up in arms. You know what I'm saying? But you can go around and call Joshua Juicy J. You know what I'm saying? So look, he's been Alexander Povetkin has been busted. Canelo has been busted. What's the name? Ortiz has been busted. Some of these guys multiple times. So I'm only going to talk about those and go in on those guys who has been busted and been proven, not speculation. I'm not going to speculate on these guys' careers and ruin their name saying that they on performance enhancing drugs and I don't have no proof. You give me the proof, then I'm going to go in on them. So, like I said, this man beat Joseph Parker. This man beat Klitschko. This man beat Dillian White. So he has some really good names on his resume who he beat, and a lot of these guys he TKO'd. He TKO'd Charles Martin. He TKO'd. I mean, you can say what you want about Charles Martin up to that point. That was Charles Martin's first loss. You know what I'm saying? He TKO'd Klitschko. TKO'd Eric Molina. He TKO'd Dillian White. He TKO'd Carlos Takam. I know a lot of people say that was a quick stoppage. He TKO'd Alexander Povetkin. You know, he had a unanimous decision versus Joseph Parker. So this man in 22 fights has gotten 3 of the titles. Now, would everybody like to, I would love to see him fight Deontay Wilder and as soon as possible. But see, I have credibility on the situation. It's a lot of people that lost a lot of credibility on telling Anthony Joshua that he cannot no longer build the Deontay Wilder fight, because these are the same people that are looking the other way while their boogeyman Earl Spence Jr. said that he want to build up the Crawford fight. So all those people that looking the other way and making excuses for Earl Spence building up the Terence Crawford fight, you have no credibility in saying that Anthony Joshua is ducking Wilder. I mean, you have no, because now you're a hypocrite. You can't be taken serious. I can't take you serious. Now, I still stand by what I say. I don't like fighters building up fights. I'm not in the business of fighters building up fights, because what that does for us, this fight gonna be on pay-per-view, Wilder versus Joshua. We know this gonna be on pay-per-view if these guys fight each other, you know, and they're both still got their titles. So we know it's gonna be on pay-per-view. What a build-up fight is for us is it's more money that we will have to pay for pay-per-view, and I'm not in the business of doing that. I'm not in the business of Eddie Hearn, Joshua, Al Heyman, because Al Heyman is part of that. Say what you want to say. Al Heyman is part of that whole notion of letting the Crawford Earl Spence fight build up. So if you don't like Eddie Hearn for trying to build up the Joshua Wilder fight, then you don't like Al Heyman for trying to build up the Earl Spence Crawford fight. The only difference is Al Heyman doesn't talk. So for these people and for these people putting all their loyalty in Al Heyman, and you never heard that man say a word. Now, the reason why you can critique Eddie Hearn is because you have heard Eddie Hearn say things, and he has put his voice out there to be critiqued. At least he's out there speaking, so you can come to a conclusion about him. You don't have a conclusion about Al Heyman because Al Heyman doesn't say anything. But by PBC actions, and we know Al Heyman is the man behind PBC. He's the main man behind PBC. You know, everybody giving him the credit, say he's the man behind PBC. So everything that PBC boxers and the whole thing does, it has to fall back on Al Heyman. If the Crawford fight is not happening, and Crawford and Bob Arum say that they want the fight to happen, and Earl Spence and Mayweather come out and say, well, the fight is not going to happen right now. We're going to do this, and this, and then we might get to it. Then that's part of Al Heyman, because Al Heyman is the face behind PBC. So that falls on Al Heyman too. So if you don't like Eddie Hearn for building up the fight, then you don't like Al Heyman for building up the fight. Stop being a hypocrite. I mean, if you're going to stand by, like I stand by, that I don't like fights being built up, then that means you should hold Al Heyman accountable for not having the Terence Crawford fight not happen soon. That's all I'm saying. And like I said, Anthony Joshua, this man has been putting in work, serious work. Say what you want to say about him. The man has been putting in serious work. So when him and Deontay Wilder clash, I still got Deontay Wilder winning the fight. When him and Deontay Wilder, but I don't have Deontay Wilder walking over this man. It's a lot of people that's, I don't know, man. It's a lot of people saying that Deontay Wilder gonna walk over them because they presume Anthony Joshua's being scared. That's everybody know. That's people notions of saying, oh, he gonna go in there and walk over Juicy J. It's gonna be a couple rounds. No, it's not. No, it's not going to be a couple rounds. This is going to be a highly, highly contested fight. This is a 50. This is a legitimate 50-50 fight. I'm just picking Wilder. You know what I'm saying? And people can pick whoever they want to pick. Let me see who's up in here. Al Roebuck. With all due respect, those same fighters that Joshua beat for those titles wasn't trying to fight Wilder would have. Look, we can say those fighters wasn't trying to fight Wilder. We can go back and forth about whether they was trying to or not. I'm just gonna speak what actually happened, because to me that gets away from all the arguing. What actually happened is Joshua went out, he beat Charles Martin. A lot of people are still overlooking the fact that Charles Martin was a PBC fighter, and he's still a PBC fighter. Why didn't Al Haymon get Charles Martin in the ring with Deontay Wilder so Deontay Wilder can win the fight, can win the belt? People still haven't answered that yet. Why haven't? See, that's why I say Al Haymon need to be called to the carpet too. Why didn't Al Haymon go out there and make the Charles Martin versus Deontay Wilder fight? Then people will come back and say, I know, because back then I made a video and somebody said, well, Eddie Hearn offered Charles Martin $6 million. Okay, why didn't Al Haymon offer him $7 million then? Why didn't Al Haymon offer him $7 or $8 million so he could fight at Deontay Wilder, so to keep that belt in PBC house? Why did Al Haymon let that belt get away? Nobody's answering that. Why did he let that belt get away? So everybody's mad because Eddie Hearn came in and offered the man $6 million, because Eddie Hearn seen the big picture. Eddie Hearn seen that, man, we're going to win this belt, because Eddie Hearn is a promoter. Al Haymon is a promoter. Al Haymon, everybody say he's only an advisor. Al Haymon running that whole show. But Eddie Hearn understands that I need to get that belt from my guy to start building my guy's profile. So people are getting mad at Eddie Hearn because he's building Joshua's profile. That's what he's supposed to do as a promoter. So he went out, he got the IBF title from Charles Martin. Then guess what he did? He went out and fought Klitschko for the vacant WBA title and won that title. And people getting mad about that. People act like Anthony, and then he beat Joseph Parker for the other belt. People acting like Anthony Joshua just went out and these title organizations just handed Anthony Joshua the belts. No, he had to fight opponents for the belts. He fought Charles Martin and beat Charles Martin for the belt. He fought Klitschko and beat Klitschko for the belt. Got off the canvas. He fought and beat Joseph Parker for the belt. These titles were not given to him. Why didn't Al Haymon go out and get these titles for Deontay Wilder? He could have went out and got the same titles that Eddie Hearn got and got these belts for Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder would have been undisputed, because Deontay Wilder already had the WBC title. So if he would have had offered Charles Martin the money that he wanted, he should have said, brought Charles Martin in the office. What is it going to take for you to fight Deontay Wilder? Charles Martin say, okay, it's going to take $6 million. Al Haymon should have put up that money, because Al Haymon should have been looking at the bigger picture. He's investing in Wilder. Let Wilder go out and fight Charles Martin, knock Charles Martin out, win the IBF. Now he has 2 titles. Now, okay, if Klitschko didn't want to fight Wilder, okay, he wanted to fight Joshua, okay. So Joshua wins that WBA title. Why not get Joseph Parker, have a meeting with his representatives and ask Joseph Parker, how much is going to take you, how much money is it going to take you to fight Deontay Wilder? What if Joseph Parker would have said $8 million? Okay, put the $8 million up, win that title. Now Deontay Wilder has 3 belts, and now Anthony Joshua has 1 belt. See, that's how you play chess. You can't play checkers. You got to play chess. Eddie Hearn went out there and played chess. That's all I got to say. I don't want to hear nobody else talk about anything. Don't cry to me like be a grown man or be a woman about the situation. If Eddie Hearn went out there and made the chess moves for Joshua to win the titles he won, you cannot get mad at Eddie Hearn for going out there making the moves he made. He made chess moves. Not everybody mad. He made the same moves that Al Haymon could have made. Now, like I said, he probably couldn't fight Klitschko, because Klitschko he wanted to fight Joshua. Okay, so he wanted to fight Joshua. He probably seen that he may have an easier path to beating Joshua. Okay, that's fine. So Joshua would have only had one belt. He wouldn't have had the Charles Martin belt because, like I said, Al Haymon, that was a PBC fighter. That belt was in PBC hands. That belt should have never left the PBC organization. But Al Haymon allowed it to leave. So I'm not getting mad at Eddie Hearn because Al Haymon dropped the ball. He dropped the ball. And like I said, he could have did the same thing that Eddie Hearn did with Joseph Parker. He should have had a meeting with Joseph Parker people and asked them how much money is going to take to get in the ring with Deontay Wilder. And they could have came to an agreement. And they could have came to some type of middle ground. You see, that's how you play chess. No, they were playing checkers. Now it's a lot of crying in the boxing YouTube and crying around, with the whole Deontay Wilder situation that Eddie Hearn is out here doing what he's doing. But he's doing what he's doing because Al Haymon helped allow him to do what he's doing. Instead of doing his business and looking after his fighter, he should have been looking after Deontay Wilder. Like I said, they have not really been promoting Deontay Wilder right. Deontay Wilder should, like I told people, I seen posters of Anthony Joshua in multiple Walmarts down where I'm at, and it should be posters of in sporting goods, and it should be posters of Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua is from the UK, and he's getting promoted over. He has things over here that Deontay Wilder doesn't have. But like I said, you cannot get mad at Eddie Hearn. Anthony Joshua is putting in work. Now, he should be trying to, after this Fury fight, he should be trying to negotiate a serious fight with Deontay Wilder. And like I said before, when two sides are in serious talks about negotiations, about a fight, you don't hear anything in the media about the negotiations. It's when the sides are not really serious about making the fights, then you start hearing things about the negotiations. Case in point, when Mayweather Pacquiao, in the beginning, when they was first started negotiating about this fight, I'm talking about in 2009 or somewhere up in there, you heard all the things was coming out about the negotiations. It was coming out about Manny Pacquiao scared of needles. Mayweather wanted this. Mayweather wanted that. Pacquiao wanted that. When they really wanted to make the fight and they went into negotiations, we didn't hear anything. It wasn't no leaking about the negotiations because you know why? Because both parties were serious about the negotiations. When they came out there to negotiations, all we heard was date of the fight and venue, and the first and when the first press conference is going to be. That's serious talks about negotiations. I'm gonna tell you once again, when two sides are serious about negotiations, you don't hear anything. You don't hear any leaking. When two sides are serious about negotiations, they come out of negotiations with a date, a venue, and the first press conference. So obviously, Deontay Wilder side and the Anthony Joshua side were not serious about negotiations because we heard all type of leaks, and people were jumping right on those leaks, all types of leaks. And like I said, Anthony Joshua, if he has previous scheduled meetings with his sponsors and he can't make the fight, okay, he can't make the fight. The man got business. I'm not gonna tell a man that he has to cancel his scheduled meetings with his sponsors to go to the Deontay Wilder Fury fight. For one, Joshua probably knows how the fight is going to end. Joshua probably already knows that Wilder is going to win the fight. He probably already knows that Wilder is going to win the fight. For two, he doesn't want to cancel his meetings. I don't know how important his meetings is, so I'm not gonna get into all that. Telling the man what he should and should not do with that part of his business. Second of all, why would he? Like I said, why would he go to a rival? Everybody has made this into a big thing. Why would he go to a rival network, sit in their network platform, and watch that fight when they're trying to get the fight on DAZN on his platform? That's what I'm. Everybody has made this into a big thing. DAZN versus PBC. See, this is what happens when y'all make this network versus network, promoter versus promoter. This type of stuff happens. It opens the door for this type of stuff, and it plants a seed in these fighters and promoters' brain that, oh, the public word about network versus network. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why we as boxing supporters, that's why you don't get into all this promoter versus promoter crap, or network versus network crap. So like I said, Anthony Joshua putting in work. The man is not doing anything wrong as far as fighting opponents. He's been active. He's fighting 2 times a year. That's more active than a lot of these fighters. 2 times a year in this new age of fighting is active. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather see fighters fight 3, but 2 times a year is considered active for this new boxing paradigm. And that's what he's doing since 2015. Joshua has been fighting 2 times a year, and he's been fighting. And he's in within those fights, within that year, he's fighting a meaningful. One of those 2 opponents is a meaningful heavyweight opponent. Let me go through his resume again. Okay, since 2015, he's been fighting 2 times a year. Now he fought Dillian Whyte, then he fought Charles Martin. At that point, Dillian Whyte was not a huge name in the heavyweight division like he is now. So, like I said, he's fighting 2 times in a year. He fought Dillian Whyte in 2015. He fought some other guy. He fought Kevin Johnson in 2015. And then when he won the first title against Charles Martin, that was 2016. Then he fought Dominic Brazil. And then also in 2016, he fought Eric Molina. Then he fought Klitschko. Then he fought Carlos Takam. Then he fought Joseph Parker. Then he fought Alexander Povetkin. And those names that I named, Charles Martin, because he had a title, you had to take him serious because he had a title. Dillian Whyte, Klitschko, Joseph Parker, and Alexander Povetkin, all of those guys, which Dillian Whyte now has become a prominent name, but all of those guys are important fights in the heavyweight division. So he's handling his business. Now, in 2019, I believe he should be trying, him and Wilder, I'm not going to put it on one person, him and Wilder need to start getting in serious talks and stop leaking stuff to the public so the public can start having an influence and a opinion about it. Just go into a room and get in with your representative with Wilder representative, bring his people, and get into the room and just make the fight. For 2019. I don't care what month in 2019, as long as the fight is in 2019. Subscribe to the channel, man. I'm out.